So today's video is about doxing, D-O-X-I-N-G. Um, Sometimes it does appear to be used in court cases using a double X. This reference is from a Ohio court case where the court describes doxing as using the internet to source out and collect someone's personal and private information and then publicly releasing that information online. The goal of doxing is typically retribution, harassment, or humiliation. So, I think we know why I'm talking about this. So there's a lot of doxing going on in general, but also in in the community that I've thrown myself into. And I want to talk about my position with it. So when I contacted the judge in Kate and Chili's lawsuit, I did it as an anonymous party, and I reminded her of the Ninth Circuit's interpretation, saying that I have the right to retain my anonymity online, as well as in the court if I have fear of, or if I have safety concerns. And I'm a fan of anonymity. So regarding the blue bacon thing, it probably wasn't, it wasn't right to dox someone who has a channel who's trying to stay anonymous. There are some buts though, right? So, Blue Bacon has basically said, well, first of all, you don't even know where I live. That's my Blue Bacon impersonation. And he made videos where he's swinging on a hammock, says he's waiting to be served. So, that seemed a little reckless. If you really want to maintain your anonymity, you should probably avoid being sued and making defamatory statements. So, I know I invited Ben Wish to sue me, mostly because I know my statements weren't defamatory, but so here we are. Let's talk about doxing. So, I prepared some bullet points here, but I'm still probably going to forget some stuff. So First Amendment, it's your First Amendment right to speak anonymously, especially on public matters, especially on the internet. There's tons of case law on it. I feel like I kind of needed to do, the panel that Shelly's been talking about, where he and I were going to talk about free speech, because your guarantee of free speech is if you're discussing public matters. If you're discussing matters that are a private concern, it's not automatically free speech, and oftentimes it's not. Usually it's not. The reason why you can still do it is because there's no law against it, but it's not a guarantee right under the First Amendment. So the crime known as, so doxing qualifies, and there's case law where they've basically identifying it exactly as cyberbullying. Now, some states have cyberbullying laws. There are no federal laws. And again, these are crimes. So like Blue Bacon or whoever gets doxed cannot sue over these. they could go to the authorities. And as far as I know, Chile has tried to exercise these avenues, and it's difficult. So you kind of need to, you probably need to have some inroads, or you need to have your uh, local law enforcement probably already needs to have those relationships established with the FBI and have some experience uh, investigating these. And then they're also super busy, right? So it helps to have um, a relationship with them as well, and have some leverage, political leverage. I mean, not leverage against the law enforcement officers. So the doxing is also definitely violates the federal cyberstalking laws. So that's where you go to the FBI, right, and file, make a report, ask them to investigate. Again, I don't know if Chile's attempted this, but this one seems even more difficult. So first of all, there's only usually a few FBI offices in a state, so you're gonna have to definitely go out of your way to do that. And then make sure you bring your laptop, because you don't want to have left something at home when you do that. And then you kind of have to wait for them to take action, if they do at all. I mean, if you're gonna go the restraining order route, I recommend that you do these two things, because in my experience, the judge is going to ask you if you reported it to law enforcement, and this way you can say you did, whether it's hearsay or not. All right, so one thing that's kind of interesting about doxing someone is if you dox their home address, you've basically automatically, and this is in case law as well, now meet the minimum requirement for jurisdiction in the victim state. So they no longer have to file in your home state, using your home state's anti-harassment laws and using your venue. They can sue from their home state. So as far as torts, right, you definitely have given up your jurisdiction. And now I'm going to go into those torts. So the first one is defamation. And so this is the most dangerous one, and it's where Kate got into trouble, is because she, instead of just doxing people, a lot of people in this community seem to want to pull up police reports, and a police report just shows an arrest. It's not a conviction. And if you actually pull up court records that shows a conviction, then the truth, right, is a defense to defamation. But you still need to tell the story that's in the judicial record, so that you either should tell the entire complete record, or make sure that the version that you provide has the exact same sting to that person's reputation as if you had. And that's something that Kate messed up on. I don't feel that Chile messed up on that when he reported Omo's records, but I'm not involved in those cases. So, tort of intentional infliction of emotional distress. So basically, before there were anti-harassment laws, this was the tort that allowed you to sue for basically anyone does anything that causes you pain and suffering, right? So, or mental anguish. So, I mean, doxing is definitely included. Anything you do If you intentionally do it to harass someone, it's a tort. So even if you accidentally dox someone and as a result of that, the person is injured in some way. So Blue Bacon is doing the right thing there, where he told his family members to record, right, any actions that actually occur, because even if Chile didn't intend for those actions to occur, Blue Bacon would have to tie back Chile's specific doxing of that information to that person. So it's going to be difficult, especially now that other people are sharing Blue Bacon's information as well. But you should definitely keep track of incidents of harassment and other things, because even if they shared the information negligently, there could be some damages there. So there's also the tort of invasion of privacy. So the biggest use case that I can think of for this would be if you found out that someone was gay and you revealed their sexual preference, and they don't have to prove damages. They don't even have to prove that it wasn't true, right? That's a tort of invasion of privacy. So as we talked about on the first slide, so usually, right, just when you dox someone, usually the intent is obvious, right? That you want people to harass them. So usually that's kind of easy to prove anyway, whether it was negligent. Usually you can prove that was intentional. So if you, right, but the difference also is negligent versus intentional. So if you did it intentionally, cause them harm, then you're going to be subject to punitive damages when they sue you, as well as any other damages. The other thing is, the difference between negligent and intentional is if you intentionally, let's go into the case where you negligently do it, all right? So Chile doxed Blue Bacon, and Blue Bacon ends up losing his job, all right? So Blue Bacon sues Chile, all right? So Chile says, I'm not the only one that shared this information online. So all those people get pulled into the lawsuit, and let's say that Blue Bacon wins the case, and the parties have to pay. All right. So in this case, each individual is only responsible for their portion of the damages. So if, like, I don't know, if I can't think of another YouTuber. All right, so say Rights On also shared the information. So, and we determined, since Shelley released it first, maybe he's responsible for 50% of the damages, and Rights On for 25%, and then some other person for 25%. All right. So if Rights On and this other person don't pay their 25% of damages, Chile is not on the line to pay that other 50%. Whereas if it's intentional, then each person has to pay the same amount. But if Rights On doesn't pay the 25%, then Chile would have to pay Rights On 25%, and then Chile would have to sue Rights On for that money. All right, so let's also talk about terms of service. So Kate used Been Verified to pull that information, and it's definitely against the terms of service to use the information the way she did for Been Verified, or Intellius, or any other service that you use. So you open yourself to harm and civil suit from those companies, and also from the plaintiff, including them in their lawsuit. And then, of course, it's a violation of YouTube's terms of service to dox someone, or put their personal contact information, or apparently even to use their image, which is interesting because, right, there's also the copyright strike, and someone could claim fair use of the video that has you in it, yet you can say that it has your image in it as a privacy issue. I don't know. YouTube is weird. So I just also wanted to talk about, right, Boo Bacon was putting together his evidence, and I just wanted to say that, so restraining order hearings are a lot different than your typical litigation court services, right? They typically have laws that make it for a speedy process that limits the rules of evidence. And I could just tell by to Blue Bacon's, Blue Bacon's pretty naive and thinks he knows a lot, but I'm sure that he does not know how to get his video evidence into a restraining order or protective order, whatever they call it, where he lives, hearing. Chile did not know how to do that. And that's why he lost. So it's tough. So I do think it's a good idea, though. I think the restraining order is the right way to do it in your local, in your state, if your state has, right, a civil restraining order process. So that's all I got for you today. I see ya later. Bye.